The New World, an unknown world, an unmapped terrain. The journey to this unexpected range can only be conquered by the brave, the strong, and the bold. Only one has proved to triumph over this journey. Christopher Columbus, born in 1451, sponsored by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, King and Queen of Spain. He has managed to capture the souls of those from the Old World and the New World alike, connecting trade routes and inspiring the world.
Christopher Columbus was born in Genoa, Italy in 1451. Little is known of his early life, but he worked as a seaman and then a maritime entrepreneur. He became obsessed with the possibility of pioneering a western route to China, India, and the golden spice islands of Asia. At the time, Europeans knew no direct sea route to southern Asia except for the one going past Egypt and the Red Sea, but that was closed to the Europeans by the Ottoman Empire. The same goes for many land routes. But contrary to popular legend, educated Europeans of Columbus' day actually believed that the world was round, except most of them underestimated the world's size, approximating that East Asia must lie approximately where North America sits on the globe. After many efforts and being rejected twice, Christopher Columbus's crew was finally sponsored by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. After gathering a large crew on August 3, 1492, Columbus set sail from Palos, Spain with three small ships, the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina. On October 12th, the expedition reached land, probably Watling Island in the Bahamas. Later that month, Columbus sighted Cuba, which he thought was mainland China, and in December the expedition landed on Hispaniola, which Columbus thought might be Japan. He established a small colony there with 39 of his men. Then they returned to Spain with gold, spices, and Indian captives in March 1930. While at the Americas, Columbus met with the Native Americans and they became close friends. This event was known as the Columbian Exchange, which was the widespread transfer of plants, animals, culture, human populations, technology, and ideas between the Americas and the Old World in the 15th and 16th centuries. From the Native Americans, the Europeans received many new goods such as avocados, pineapples, potatoes, tobacco, tomatoes, turkey, cotton, corn, bell pepper, sweet potatoes, marigolds, papayas, peanuts, and more.
While Christopher Columbus and his crew of explorers were not the first Europeans to set foot on land in the Western Hemisphere, temporary Norse timber colonies of Lysvidor and Stromsford during the 1000 CE in Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, Canada. They were the first such explorers to be heralded for the discovery of new lands to the west. The Viking explorations centuries earlier were accomplished by seafaring peoples with no written languages or histories, so the knowledge of the North American settlements was lost until recent archaeological excavations and the so-called Vinland documents. Nevertheless, it is Christopher Columbus and his crew who are remembered as being the first Europeans to discover the New World. This discovery brought with it rapid colonization by the Western European powers, namely England, France, Spain, Portugal, and the Netherlands. New trade commodities, advances in seafaring and supply preservation, and new contacts between cultures. Unfortunately, Columbus's discovery of the New World is also shrouded by the violence and death directly and indirectly inflicted on people indigenous to the Western Hemisphere. Christopher Columbus's discovery undoubtedly changed history by opening up new lands for the European imperial powers to colonize and conquer, signaling the end of the Western Hemisphere civilizations that were pushed to extinction or collapse, introducing products such as corn, potatoes, tobaccos, and chocolate to the rest of the world, and by laying the foundations for the new states of the Western Hemisphere. Columbus's discovery allowed for the period of colonization to begin. This had a number of important effects from our perspective as Americans. The eventual creation of the US is probably the most important of these effects. By finding the New World, Columbus started its European colonization. This eventually ended up allowing the US to be created. The creation of the US helped, among other things, to move much of the world towards democracy. It also led to the development of what is now the world's only superpower. A world without the United States is impossible to imagine today. The existence of the US was made possible by the discovery of America, and that is, therefore, one of the ways in which Columbus's discovery changed history. History was primarily changed by the exchange of plants and animals between Europe and the Americas, commonly known as the Columbian Exchange. Tomatoes, potatoes, and corn, also known as maize, previously unknown in Europe, became an important part of the diets of people living there. Similarly, cattle, sheep, and hogs were introduced into the Americas. Sadly, disease was also introduced and had a devastating effect on both societies. Entire groups of people were wiped out in the Americas by smallpox, measles, and etc. While in Europe, an epidemic of syphilis, previously unknown there, took a terrible toll.